We are talking to Mike Mishedlock. His blog at globaleconomicanalysis.blogspot.com. Couldn't miss all those full-page newspaper ads and TV commercials letting us know that GM has repaid their government loans, huh?
Yeah. GM and Obama is singing the praises, and a number of officials in the Obama administration is praising the fact that GM has paid back the debt. Wall Street Journal even had a lead story, the debt fully repaid.
Yeah,
is what it said. Well, no, that's a lie. The debt was not fully repaid. The U.S. government converted. They did pay back $6.7 billion. So let's talk about that. And Canada got paid back $1.4 billion. But Canada still owns, I don't know if you're aware of this,
12%. 12%
of GM, and the U.S. government owns 70% of GM, and I believe that if I add those two together, I come up with 82%. Is that what your math says?
We got government motors.
That still makes it government motors in my book. Bear in mind that GM paid this money back. They still lost $3.4 billion in the fourth quarter of 2009. Figure out how in the hell did they pay this back with this kind of thing? They on their books they have $15 billion in debt that was not wiped out in the bankruptcy, and they've got $27 billion in unpaid pension liabilities. Now,
before we get to the pension part, I sent you a link from Senator Chuck Grassley, who says that money actually came out of TARP. The repayment, the bailout money, and this is confirmed by Neil Borofsky, telling Fox News as well as the Senate Finance Committee, that General Motors used bailout money to pay back the federal government. So they really haven't paid anything. Yeah.
Well, so they get a loan to pay back the loan?
Basically, that's what this is all about.
Well, regardless, the key story here is for all this harping and crowing that the Obama administration is doing about paying this back, and let's just assume that this was paid back, whether you think it really was or not. There's still $45 billion worth of government ownership of as U.S. That's not counting the $12 billion Canadian here of government ownership of GM. Now, here's the way I look at it. Let's go back to the beginning. Remember why these $45 billion in loans were given to GM? So that it wouldn't go bankrupt.
Yes, too big to fail.
GM $45 billion worth of loans. Had the government not made those loans to GM, now converted to equity, a 70% equity stake, and another 12 for Canada, GM would have gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
Just as it did, right? And GM would still be producing cars just as it is now, right? It wouldn't have gone out of business just because it went bankrupt, correct? And as I see it, taxpayers would not be out $45 billion in the U.S. and another $12 billion in Canada, and GM would be GM, not government motors.
Yes.
I feel from that perspective, the bailout of GM was a total and complete failure.
Now let's talk about the pension problem. That's kind of looming up there like Jaws.
Well, that's $27 billion in unfunded pension liabilities, and all private corporations, if they fail, they come under the pension PG. Good grief, I can't think of the name of it.
PBGC.
PBGC.
The Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation.
Which really stands for taxpayers, by the way.
Sure.
But what would have happened had GM gone bankrupt is the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation would have taken over GM, and more than likely they would have gotten reduced pensions, which is probably what they deserve, if you ask me. And that would have been the end of it. So we still have, this looming over us right now. So there's no measure, there's no possible way anyone can tout this as a success, but as we know, they're doing it.